So I want to thank everybody that came out tonight to ATWL and There Was Light. Out to Emmanuel Reformed Church. This was our very first spoken word hip hop fundraiser. Our church has a vision of the Great Commission of planting churches, and it's hard sometimes to get these churches going out and planning them. It takes finances. We got to get buildings and musical equipment and instruments and speakers and everything, starting off from scratch. So the Lord put this in our heart to put on an event where we can entertain people, we can preach the gospel, we can plant a seed of God's grace and mercy in their hearts and in their minds. We can raise funds, and at the end we can have people come to Christ. We had 4 people give their lives to the Lord tonight, and that was such a tremendous blessing. We started out with MC Valiente, one of our local kids from church, from our Spanish service. Then we had Lyrics 1, Luis Reina, who also came out and did some spoken word. After that, I gave the little rules on the spoken word and the snapping of the fingers, which is pretty cool. Not everybody's hip that they want to get up and applaud and clap and whatnot. After that, we had Montell Ricks come out. And Brother Montell Ricks, he brought it. He brought some spoken word with such passion and such just a passion and love for God and what God's done in his life. He gave a testimony by way of spoken word and poetry, and it was such a blessing. We also had we showed a nice video that talked about discipleship and why we're doing the Great Commission, what it is to make a disciple out of somebody. I could have sat there and talked about it all night, but the video with some stick figures just put it plain as day. We also had we were blessed to have our brother Joshua Upwordz, come out. Good Hawaiian brother, loves the Lord. He came out here and preached. He just preached hard by way of his rap music. After him, we had N.I.Q. N.I.Q. did something very particular. She had JGivens, she had Jose Palos, she had Montell Ricks come out and help her with her introduction. And a little bit later, Jose Palos came out and started beatboxing a piece with her, and it was just, she brought it out. Such a little sister with such a huge punch that she packs. She's just awesome, talent, loves God. Then we had our brother Jeremiah Givens come all the way out from Vegas. He put it down. He brought it. He just had people on their feet, clapping with their hands up in the air, just praising God, doing what he does best. The Spirit was with him. His message, the message of grace, of God's mercy, of the slain lamb, how he died. He said one key phrase. He said, his red covered our blue. And I was like, wow, that sentence just had such an impact. His red, the blood he shed, was to take care of our blue. And I let it sink in and marinate. And I looked out at the crowd, and everybody else was just processing those words of what Christ did for us on that cross. We had our sister Janette come up. Janette, everybody knows who Janette is. She's just such a huge blessing. One of the original spoken word artists that just everybody knows. And she brought it. She brought it with a passion, her love for God. Every one of these artists has their own followers. We had people that showed up that we didn't expect to see. We had people come from San Bernardino, from Las Vegas, from up north. We were blessed to have people come from all over Southern California. We didn't sell out. But again, this is our first event, and I think it went rather well. The Lord was definitely here. He was magnified. He was exalted. His word was preached. Lives came to Christ, and we raised some money to continue the Great Commission, which is to plant churches. Our brother Jose Palos, we ended it off. In Spanish, we have a saying, cerramos con broche de oro. That means we cut it, we close it off with the gold brooch or a gold seal. You know, the brother Palos, he has so much humility. He is so humble, just a servant of God that loves him with a passion, and he preaches his word. He talks about some stuff that not many Christians want to hear, about racism, about prejudice within the church, but we had to hear it. His message was there for us. He brought it. We just closed off in such a good way. But after all of this, the most important part was 4 lives were brought to Christ. 4 lives. One of them was a close and personal friend who I was actually in prison with many years ago. And I was praying for him, and he came to the Lord tonight. So it was all worth it. We had one of the baddest graffiti artists out there, Anthony Rico. He came down and he donated his time and his efforts, and he painted a piece of Christ throughout the whole event. But it wasn't just one piece. It was one piece composed of 30 small individual pieces, which at the end of the night we raffled off. And people were blessed to get a little piece of that painting, especially people that gave their life to God. that was a small memento to remind them of the promise of the covenant they made with God that night. It's the beginning, the first step of their journey with Him. He was kind enough to sit back and autograph some afterwards, and just it was another blessing for the people that were there. And these people didn't just come perform. Afterwards, they interacted, they took pictures with the crowd, they mingled, and it wasn't just a you're down there, I'm up here type of thing. What they were up there preaching about, they were living by shaking hands and taking pictures and praying. I looked over and I seen N.I.Q praying, laying hands on somebody praying. I was like, wow, thank you, Jesus. These humble servants with huge hearts and passions for you. And it was just awesome. We had vendors, Big Leaf Apparel. We had Hate the Hate Sin campaign, I Am the Way Apparel, Living in Truth clothing. We had One clothing, We Are One, servants gear. We had Jamaica Jacobson with her jewelry that she designs. We just had so many people out here supporting our cause, supporting our event, trying to get us closer to carrying out the Great Commission. It was just such a true blessing. It was such an honor to be able to see the fruition of all of our hard works come together with God's grace and His mercy.